train, for its type, is the most powerful vehicle on land. And the engines of Sodor are the power behind the docks, industries and branch lines that make up the world-renowned North-Western Railway. These are the stories of Sodor. I would consider myself to be a very easygoing engine, but there are things that I hate, winter being one of them. No, it's not because I'm a Christmas Grinch, it's because this snowbound season brings with it a whole host of problems. Ports will often shut down due to ice-covered waters, so a railway loses out on its transportation contracts. A great many mining-based industries will sometimes close for the season, so we're denied those jobs as well. Finally, there's the snow itself. Whenever there's a heavy downpour of the stuff, sidings may become blocked and main lines obstructed. This will often lead to cancelled trains. Mickey does his best to keep the tracks free of snow, with the rest of us offering our assistance by taking up our cumbersome ploughs. But of every engine on Sodor, there were two in particular who excelled at clearing snow. In their pre-LMS days, Donald and Douglas worked on the Caledonian Railway in Scotland. To hear them tell it, the snowdrifts there were 30 feet deep, meaning it was child's play for them to clear the ones on Sodor even during so-called bad periods. Thanks to their tireless efforts, many yards were cleared and many engines pulled from a snowy situation. In December of 1937, the pair were called to the scene of a rather heavy drift. Good grief! What is it, Dougie? We got ourselves a doozy here, Donny. A bonny pile of snow, have we? Nothing we can't handle, I'm sure. I never said I was worried, only that I'm impressed. Did Mickey want us to wait until he got here? Nay, he said to make a start so we... Wait, what was that? I'm not sure. It sounded like a whistle. There it is again. Oi, who's there? Douglas, is that you? Ugh, goodness sake, Donald, it's Henry. Henry, are you alright? I've been better. By oath am I glad you're here. How long have you been stuck there? I don't know. Is it still 1937? Don't fret, Henry. Wait a while. We'll get you out. Wait a while? Are you being clever? Oh, sorry. Poor choice of words. It took the rest of the day for the two middies to dig Henry out of that drift, with Mickey commending them for their excellent work. After a quick inspection, our number 3 was deemed to be in perfect working order. All the same, Mickey gave him a helping buffer. By the time he returned to Knapford, night had fallen. Well, you've certainly had an interesting run of things lately, Henry. Aye. First flat tyres, then a snowdrift. Maybe I'll run into an elephant next. I don't think that's very likely, Henry. You never know. We've had a lot of snowfall this year. Yeah, I don't much like it either, as it always reminds me of Arthur. Who? Arthur? I've told you about him, haven't I? No. I've never heard of this Arthur either. Me neither. Do you lads want to hear about him? Are you sure, Edward? We're not going to change history by ignoring it, Toby. Did this Arthur do something wrong? Oh yes, he did. And this was the story I told. Arthur was a mixed traffic engine for the middies, one of their earliest additions when they first came to Sodor. Without question, he was the most boastful engine I had ever known. He was forever prattling on about his spotless record, how he had never once been late. What made it worse was that it was true. Somehow, he always delivered his trains on time and without failure. He was also never shy about calling out those engines who were late, even if they were on his own crew. Unfortunately, this pride was what led to his downfall. It was late one night in the winter of 1923 when he had to take an express train. He had suffered a delay and couldn't get out of the station quick enough when he was finally allowed to leave. Eager to make up for lost time, desperate to preserve his spotless record, he tore down the line at a criminally reckless speed. This, combined with the poor visibility, the icy rails and the steep descent of Gordon's Hill, it was small wonder what happened next. He crashed? Came right off the rails. He and his coaches rolled almost 100 yards before stopping, but that wasn't the worst of it. What could be worse? Every single one of his passengers were killed. What about Arthur? What happened to him? He was scrapped. The impact killed him instantly and turned his body into a mangled heap of metal that barely resembled an engine, and it didn't end there either. What do you mean? Come now, Thomas, you don't really believe that. How many people have seen it, Edward? How many? They can't all be wrong. They can't all be right either. What are you talking about? It's reckoned every year on the anniversary of Arthur's death that his ghost appears, hoping desperately to reach its destination so he and the tormented souls of his victims can finally be at peace. Ghosts? I've been on this island near 20 years and I've never seen one. Thank you, Henry. Just out of curiosity, when? Next week. So look out. Thomas, stop going on about nonsense, please. So, you don't believe in ghosts, Edward? No, I don't. And until I see one for myself, I'll remain a skeptic. Now, I'm going to sleep. Good night, lads. Of course, having told that story, I didn't sleep well, and neither did anyone else. As I said before, winter was a time when Sodor's various industries closed for the season, with one noticeable exception: coal. Without this black, dirty stuff, industry would grind to a halt. Winter didn't impede its importance either, with long trainloads filled with the material being delivered to power plants and the like. But for such a vital industry, I'm sorry to say the Marston Heights coal mine on Sodor was very inefficient. This was because the mine didn't have its own shunter, and this was because its owner, Franklin Merv, was something of a penny pincher, who calculated it was cheaper to pay a shunting fee than to keep an on-site engine. This was a poor arrangement, as we often argued with the middies over who got to use the chutes first, with the trucks being left everywhere. It finally got so bad that the board forced Mr. Merv's hand and purchased an engine. On the day she arrived at the mine, she would find Diesel and Thomas arguing by the chutes. For the last time, Diesel, no! You've been holding up all the tracks since I arrived. That's because I need to fill a big order of coal. You can check with Mr. Merv. Well, shake a wheel then. I've got to take a shipment of my own back to Brenham, or else the others won't be able to move come tomorrow. I fail to see the problem then. You know, it's too bad an engine can't run on cheek. You'd never need a top up on coal otherwise. Well, it's lucky you're not fueled by deviousness. Your petrol tank would burst if it did. You little... Oi! What's going on here? Who are you? I'm Keith, the new shunter. A little engine like you? Pull the other one. Looking at you, it's no wonder I'm needed. Where do you get off making that crack? If you've been the mine shunter up till now, I'm amazed it hasn't closed. First off, I'm not the shunter. And second, is that any way for a lady to talk? You tell me, mate. Shut it, Thomas. You lot too. Alright, I'm done wasting time with you. How about you clear off and let a real engine take over? Grrr. Well, that was beautifully handled. Nicely done. Thanks. I'm used to dealing with engines like him. Sorry to say, he's not the only one on this island. I'm sure I'll manage. So, are you the mine shunter? Because what I said before... No. I'm Thomas. I work for the LNER as a shunter. Oh, nice to meet you. So, the board's finally purchased an engine, eh? Thank goodness for that. This place needs to be put in order on the double. Then I may as well get started. What needs doing first? Well, you could move those trucks Diesel just left there. No worries. Hang about. I thought you said your name was Kate. So why does my nameplate say lady? I take it you get asked that a lot. I do. Can't say I blame anyone for it. It's actually a commemorative plate dedicated to the late wife of the nobleman who built me. Oh, that was sweet. He was a good man, and she was a good woman. Anyway, enough of this. There's work that needs doing. Huh, I like you. And it wasn't long before everyone else came to like her too. Kate quickly made the mine her own. She took care of all inbound and outbound trains, implementing a very efficient system that appeased middies and nor'easters alike. Thanks to her, every coal shipment was organised and dispatched in a timely manner. One of these deliveries, Percy was to make to Kildane. Setting out late in the afternoon, night had fallen by the time he reached Wellsworth. That was where it happened. Whose whistle is that? Bust my buffers! What a silly twit to tear down the hill like that in this weather! Oh my goodness! Jerry, did that sound like a train crash? It most certainly did. It was a passenger train too. We need to get down there, and fast. What? Where is it? I don't know. You did hear the crash, right? By oath I did. Angus, you saw a train go by, didn't you? I did. There's no rubble anywhere. No sign of a crash at all. Maybe we heard wrong. We all heard wrong the sound of a train crash? That sounds unlikely. What other explanation could there be? What's wrong, Percy? Maybe it was Arthur's ghost. Thomas said this was around the time he starts appearing. Come on, Percy, you're being ridiculous. I wish I could have agreed with that statement. I really do. But the nearby residents also heard the crash and turned out in droves to see it and were confused when they didn't find anything. This oddity attracted the attention of a reporter who, after conducting interviews and some research, published an article about Arthur's death and the ghost story that went with it. After the story broke, there was a spike in the number of alleged sightings up and down the line. Throughout this time, I remained skeptical, convinced these sightings were merely the power of suggestion. That was until my encounter. So, my son's back from his trip to the United States. Really? Already? That went by quick. Did he enjoy it? Very much so. He said it's nothing like anything here in Britain. The cities, the lifestyle, and the films. He went to the premiere of an animated picture and can't stop raving about it. What was it called? Let me think. I forget. But I do remember it had the word 7 dwarfs in it somewhere. 7 dwarfs? Sounds a little odd to me. Me too. But what do I know about the cinema? Definitely more than me. Who was that? I don't know. Huh, that's odd. I thought Reginald was due in. He was. I'm going to get to the bottom of this. Excuse me, you're not on the schedule. Who gave you clearance to stop here? I'm talking to you, mate. Unfortunately, I wouldn't have been able to help as the engine was faceless, meaning talking to it would have been like talking to a wall. I will say there was something very unsettling about that train. Alright, I'm ordering you to get out of your engine. I must warn you, failure to comply with the orders of a railway official may result in... That chilling scream came from the woman who dared to press her face to the shadowy window of one of those coaches. Whatever it was she saw, she became hysterical and turned as white as the snow around us. Her shriek ensured those passengers on the platform jumped back 10 feet, with no one daring to get any closer. I admit I was scared witless by this event, which quickly worsened. Reginald! Look out! Oh no! Reginald? Reginald! Are you alright? Bust my buffers. I better go see if he's okay. Reginald? There was a train at the platform, wasn't there? Yes, there was. And then there wasn't? That's right. How? I don't know how, Reginald. Did we just see a ghost, Edward? We must have. So it's true. Arthur's ghost haunts the line. I can't think of anything else. I owe Thomas an apology. I'm sorry to say the incident would make the papers, the story made all the more tragic by the sad fact the woman from that night was committed to an insane asylum. Business dropped dramatically for both companies as our passengers avoided us like the plague, as did our goods clients. Other engines also encountered the ghost train, causing a widespread dip in morale. The situation finally became unbearable, forcing some of us to come together to discuss a solution. Alright, so we all know why we're here. Now, Edward, why don't you remind us? Put a sock in it, Diesel. Thank you, Douglas. Now this ghost has been terrorizing the line and we need to find a way to get rid of it. I realize this is a unique situation, meaning as far as I'm concerned, there are no foolish ideas. If you have one, put it forward. How about getting the vicar to perform an exorcist? I checked, he doesn't do exorcists. What about Wilbert? When is he meant to be coming back to Sodor? I don't know. Whenever it will be, we can't afford to wait for him. Could we try talking to it? Maybe ask Arthur to leave? About that, Percy, the ghost you saw, what did it look like? Big? Silver? With red stripes and a number 0 on its side tanks. Really? That was the train you saw? Yes. Why? That doesn't sound like Arthur to me, because it wasn't Arthur. Well, what do you mean? Arthur was a big red engine, Percy, with the letters LMS on his side tanks. The engine I saw at Marin did not match that description. Does that mean we have 2 ghosts on the island? No, Peter. 1 ghost of unknown origin. Can we be so sure it isn't Arthur? The night I saw him, I did hear a crash at the bottom of the hill, and the engine I saw was pulling MIDI coaches. It can't be a coincidence. So, no, Toby. I guess we can't be sure it isn't Arthur. But if it is, why would he look different as a ghost? That doesn't make sense. We're dealing with the supernatural, Diesel. I doubt anything makes sense where that's concerned. I hate to be the naysayer of the group, but we still haven't thought up how we're going to get rid of the thing. I wouldn't say that. You have an idea, Toby? Maybe. Percy, you said you heard the crash, right? Yes. Well, that tells me he's doomed to repeat his fate. Maybe we can send him away by interrupting this process. How? By telling him he doesn't need to take his coaches. We need to find someone whom Arthur would take orders from. Maybe even someone who was around when he had his accident. But that can only be one person. There is no way he is going to go for that. Are you out of your blooming mind? Told you. Mr. Zorro, please, if you'll just let me explain. What's there to explain, Toby? You want me to tell the ghost of one of my engines who's been dead for the better part of 20 years to leave the island on the vague assumption he'll do so? Arthur always did strive to make you happy, sir. Perhaps that's one of the reasons why he crashed. What do you mean, sir? I cultivated his ego. I praised him whenever he delivered his trains on time. He was probably trying to please me the night he was killed, which is why I am so unwilling to speak to him. You think he might be holding a grudge against you? Exactly! Maybe he holds me responsible for his fate. What if he tries to take me or something? With respect, sir, don't you think you should at least try? If you don't and things keep going the way they do, we'll all be out of a job. Alright, I'll do it. Really, sir? Diesel's right. As director, I have an obligation to try and keep my business solvent. Oh, thank you, sir. And thank you, Diesel. Don't thank me, Toby. I didn't expect that to work. How are you feeling, Mr. Zorro? I'm not just shaking because it's cold, Toby. We really appreciate what you're doing, sir. Yes, yes, yes. Just don't go blabbing about it to Mr. Starr. I wouldn't want him to think I'm nice, or worse, amiable. Perish the thought, sir. Is everything in place, Diesel? Yep. The station's been cleared and Mickey's on standby. I don't see how much help I'm going to be. You never know, Chief. The station. I wonder if a railway facility anywhere in the world at any point in time has ever been evacuated because of ghosts. This is certainly a way to leave your mark in history then. Here, triumphs and blunders, the 2 biggest things people remember. Diesel, alright, I'll belt up. But before I do, can I ask something? What? What if the ghost doesn't show up tonight? We're not that lucky, old chap. Oh, my. It's up to you now, sir. Good luck. Hello? Arthur? Is that you? Well, you're probably wondering why I'm here. I, have good news. I was finally able to get hold of an express engine, so I don't need you to take this train on. You've done very well and can rest easy. Don't you understand? You can go. Did it work? Well done, Mr. Zorro. I can't believe it. Me neither, to be honest. Jolly good work, Toby. If we all had your insight, this would be a much better world. Thank you, Edward. I still can't believe it worked. And for the longest time afterwards, neither could anyone else. The relief we all felt was intense. Life gradually returned to normal on Sodor. As time went by, the story of Arthur's ghost was told over and over again, fading from history into folklore and then into legend. But it will always be real to those of us who were there. And while we never saw Arthur's ghost again, who's to say that we won't?